Hello, good morning. Welcome to another episode of Live Broadcast. For this episode, we have with us a guest from HeyElsa. So, this is Lindy here. I'm your moderator for today. And I have with me Nenat from Enso, who's our DevRel, and Dawal from HeyElsa. So the structure of this presentation is going to take about 30 to 45 minutes. We will first start with some quick introductions from both sides. So just so you know, for our dear audience, in case you're new here, what is Enzo? Nanette will be the one covering this. And we will also go through with you what is HeyElsa and what exactly this partnership is about. Then after that, Dawal will be showing us a demonstration of how the product works, and then Nanat will bring us through the back end. So Dawal will show us how the end user sees it, and Nanat will show us the POV of the developer. And then we will end off the session with a few questions from the audiences. If you have anything that comes to your mind during any time throughout the broadcast, please feel free to ask questions, leave a comment, or drop a message in our Telegram or really through any other channel. So let's start. Perhaps we could start with Dawal first, and then Nanat will follow.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Lindy, Ninod, and the Enso team for having me here. Okay, thrilled to be speaking here on your live streaming platform. Happy to sort of kick this off by sharing a little bit about Elsa, who we are, what we've built, and then take it further from there.
Cool. Thank you
You could
for.
start with who is Elsa.
Yeah. So, my name's Double, and I'm the founder at Elsa. My journey into Web3 started in 2019 when I co founded Woodstock, an early stage Web3 VC fund. That experience deepened my conviction in the space, and subsequently I went on to do something a lot more fun than being a VC, which was to co-found Frontier Wallet in 2020. It was essentially a multi-chain wallet. We were supporting about 70, 80 chains that later pivoted to self-chain, a modular layer one blockchain in 2023. Elsa was born out of a very real and personal challenge that I faced while managing crypto assets. Excuse me. I personally saw that, like, whenever I was talking about crypto, like helping people like download wallets, okay, give them like gas tokens. I saw that many people continue to struggle with the overwhelming complexity of existing platforms. Not that like seasoned users are like comfortable with it, but even they are like super stressed when they're managing transactions on the blockchain. I often found that while helping friends and family navigate this, we were answering pretty much the same questions, translating simple concepts, translating jargons, and explaining how things worked. This is exactly what inspired us to build Elsa, a true user friendly app that's designed for crypto newcomers and seasoned users alike. We want to sort of like remove the friction, simplify the experience, and make Web3 more accessible to millions of people that are curious but feel excluded by the overly technical tools like connecting five different dapps and wallets. And our mission is essentially to be the on-chain companion that makes crypto easy, approachable, and also empowering to everyone.
Right, but who is Elsa? Like your wife or your sister or somebody?
No, Elsa isn't my wife or sister. Okay, it's just a name that we sort of felt was easy to remember. Okay, memorable, and it's also like four lettered. Okay, so in case like tomorrow we've got to sort of if people need to like remember what they were using, it's kind of like quick catchy name, and hence Elsa was born.
Okay, so four-letter word because it's short for people to remember, two syllables. That's kind of similar to Enzo. Okay, maybe let's move over to Nana, who can tell us a bit more about Enzo and maybe your role here. Quick introduction.
Absolutely. So my name is Nenad. I'm DevRel at Enso, and yeah, I'm focusing mostly on trying to make it as easy as possible for developers to build products with Enso. And having said that, what is Enso anyways? So um, week in and out, we say that Enso is shortcuts to executing different DeFi workflows, which involve, well, interacting with lots of stuff that's, as Dewal said, sometimes even confusing for seasoned users, let alone people who are far from it. And how Enso simplifies this whole thing is, for developers, it's very pretty much like focus on what you want to do and uh, leave the how that gets done to Enso. And let me just give one example. Like we have this route endpoint that takes you from one position to another, and people usually think it does only swaps, right? But it actually can do so much more. It can provide liquidity into dexes. It can deposit into yield generating tokens. It can, I don't know, uh, go into lending markets, leverage different positions. It can even zap uh, and do a complex zap directly into an LP from practically any token. So when I say focus on what you want, these are the what's, and you can imagine that the how to do it can be super complex if you have to understand the protocol's interfaces, how they interact, the callbacks, the transaction sequences, and also figuring out the optimal paths between them. So unless you unless you really want to compose protocols by yourself, you can just use that simple API. And this is what's the core of what Enso is bringing to devs in Web3.
Right. Okay. Question to Dawal. Prior to when you met Enso, before you found out about Enso, were you hard coding your code in another using some other ways like manual coding, or did you already start with Enso from the beginning? Maybe you could share a bit also about what's your experience with Enso from the day you saw the docs. Do you think, okay, this is so complicated, or did you immediately find it super easy to use?
Yeah, so when we started, when we started building, we did not know about Enso. So I'll tell you how Elsa was born. So we met up at Eat Denver, say last year, like say in 2024. And, my co-founder at, Frontier, and also the CTO, his name's Vetri. We were like brainstorming on, what we can possibly build, at, one of the hackathons out there. And at that point of time, what we thought is that, it would be like really cool if, AI can be used to abstract away all the complexities that's there. And we were thinking of what is now, very popular as the chat GPT operator, but for Web3. So back then we didn't know about Enso. So we pretty much had to, manually connect all of the endpoints, okay, connect different solvers, dry run transactions. And, just to assure you, it was fairly complicated. But just for the, purpose of the hackathon, what we did is we allowed people to swap, 20 tokens on Arbitrum, okay, and users could just, basically swap some of the popular tokens there by simply writing, prompts that were like, exchange or swap or, bridge, okay, X token to Y, and Elsa would pretty much take care of it. But then that's a very limiting use case. Okay, now users want to do all kinds of things. And that's where I think, for like more advanced purposes, okay, Enso, something like Enso can be truly remarkable and reduce your, time taken to build a product and make it easier for you to just go to market.
Right. Also curious to know that because you mentioned that you have been building Elsa for quite a long time already, but the Dev AI theme or how it got hype was only recently, I think in the recent couple of months. But what were some early insights that made you put this A and B together, AI and crypto? Or like, do you just decide to jump on the bandwagon? Because from what I understand, it was before the hype that you started.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really to like, get on the crypto bandwagon for sure. the idea was more around like, what can be solved? Like, what is Web3's biggest problem right now? Okay, I think Web3's biggest problem is like, how do you onboard all of these new users that are, keen to like get started? Mostly people, stick to like centralized exchanges, and their journey sort of starts and ends there, and that's pretty much it. But then, like DeFi offers like significantly higher opportunities. If you look at like even like staking yields on some of the newer AMMs, okay, even if you just stake like stable coins, of course, none of this is financial advice, but you can easily make anywhere between 20 to 40%, okay, by just staking stables, okay, or like LPing stable coins there. So a lot of the opportunities, if you stick to like centralized exchanges, are simply not available as much as like say maybe 80 to 90%. And our goal was that what if we can, simplify interfaces to the level where anybody can get started, like as the proverbial crypto comparison is that how can you help your grandmom get started in crypto. But that is like, I don't think Elsa's made okay to that extent just yet. I think to simplify something, okay, and to like dumb it down to that level, okay, is significantly harder than what it might seem. So Elsa's essentially, the goal is that how can you simplify onboarding, okay, to the masses, help them like get started with a wallet, okay, fund that wallet using like say on ramps, swap tokens, create a portfolio if you don't know about like certain tokens, okay, help educate the user there. What can you do with those tokens post acquisition? Can you earn yield on it, okay, or like can you set like stop loss target profit levels for those? Okay, so all of that is something which is just not possible in DeFi, that Elsa is setting itself out to enable.
I love your analogy about the grandmother. I can just imagine like Elsa as the grandmother, and you go like, "Hey, Elsa, do this," and then the idea would be like, "Hey, if Elsa can do it, why can't you do it?" Like everybody should get on board crypto right now. I can still remember the first time I learned about DeFi from centralized exchange experience. I started trying my hand at like Pancake Swap and stuff. That was quite a few years back, and yeah, the user experience was really, really, really terrible. Nanette, can you remember your first time in DeFi?
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
Go ahead.
yeah, sorry, Ninod, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. I would actually like to hear what was yours like. And
So,
uh,
my first experience to crypto was, like I was in Dubai, and, I downloaded Trust Wallet on my, phone, and, one of my friends sent me ETH. Okay, this was back in like 2018. And then, I was like trying to like see how I can connect it to the desktop, because, they had like the inbuilt, browser. Okay, that was very, very limiting. Okay, so I had to like toggle between like multiple platforms, and I was stuck. I was trying to like get an ENS domain, which I couldn't do it on the browser then. So many things were like, your journey starts on mobile, then it sort of gravitates towards the desktop. Then I was trying to like use BNB, okay, but then I didn't have the BNB token, and the BNB token couldn't be bridged from anywhere else, because BNB was literally the second or third functional blockchain. Okay, so I had to like create another Binance account, onboard fiat, all of that. So it's a mess, okay, to say the least. I'd love to know your experience as well, Ninod. Like, when was it? How was it?
yeah, definitely, definitely. And after that, I do have a nice question for you and Elsa. So my experience, it started with a series of attempts that I just gave up on because I was like, yeah, this is too complicated. So I try, I learn a little bit, and then I discover, oh, there's a whole bunch of protocols, and what do they do, and so on and so on. So it really was a lot of iteration there and a lot of digging for resources, which was not easily reachable as it is today. So my beginnings were very much attempts, frustrations, research, attempts, frustration, research, and then somehow it converged to getting out of frustration partially.
Amazing.
Mm, Yeah, and a question for you: if something like Elsa was existed back then, what would be different in your journey?
I think if Elsa did exist then it would definitely be like a lot more smoother experience. And then like because I was like a new, I was like a beginner and a noob. Okay, initially, like, what do you onboard? Like, say, $50, and just get started. So it's not like a lot of money, but it's like a little bit of money. And then whenever you're stuck, like, what does one do? Okay, like find like crypto Telegram groups and you post there, and that invariably opens the risk to like spammers. Okay, so I can assure you, I've had like a fair bit of losses of my initial crypto amounts, which were like never big. Okay, but I was always sent like phishing links, etc., that made me like significantly smarter than anything else.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, having said that, I think it would be a great time to actually see what Elsa can do. Lindy,
Yeah.
do you agree?
Yeah, let's hop on to the
Yeah.
demo.
Yeah, just give me one moment.
Are you sharing the screen?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, we see it now.
So here, like, users starting off like, with a very simple prompt. Okay, it says like Elsa swap like USDC for, um, let's say, is it like BNB, or like, say, some of the meme coins out there. Let me just like make this a bit faster. Okay, and swap USDC for Tibir on Base. Okay, that's essentially a meme coin. The moment you do that, it creates like a swap window, and you can quickly approve the transaction and get started. We support like MetaMask, we support like Coinbase Wallet, and several others as well. And then let's say if you are like, say, not having like a smart wallet, then it's significantly easier, okay, to sort of do it, if you have like a smart wallet connected there, and you can quickly get started with like a few swaps and everything else. We had so yeah, so what we are like now also working on is like, say, building like an advanced set of agents that would enable more like, say, centralized exchange trading side of things than anything else as well. So let's say, like, what can you do on like, say, Binance or Qcoin, okay, that you can't do on AMMs right now. One of them is that you cannot set like limit orders, okay, like, say, like, buy and sell limit orders. You cannot set like advanced like sell stop limit orders. So we're playing around with like, say, several probabilities of like how is it that we can push on chain and get this done. Also, we are working on like, say, privacy centric features around this as well. Like, let's say, in case your transaction is like pushed on chain, okay, with like, say, certain price targets, okay, then it's very easily MEV rugged, or like it's ruggable. Okay, we won't say it's rugged because it's not live yet, but users can like very easily, MEV bots can like very easily rug, okay, our user base as well. So what we want to do is that set like an off chain metrics of like when the order actually gets pushed live on chain. Once those parameters are met, of course, in an extremely volatile market, okay, where the ATR levels are like ridiculously high, as is the case over the last 10 days or so, it gets like harder to sort of get the execution done on chain. Okay, so there are like certain challenges and limitations around that as well. However, like what we are now seeing is like processing transactions on, all of the major chains has become much faster. We're excited about like the newer chains launching that include like, Mega ETH, as well as, as well as like Monad. Okay, that will significantly increase the throughput. We're also seeing now like specialized AMMs that are like just being built for this very purpose. Okay, so it sort of makes the overall task like much easier too.
Can you share a bit about the interface that you showed us just now, the chatbot, right? I'm curious to know about your community feedback. What are from what you observe, what are the popular actions that users tend to instruct the AI? What are the actions that you have built that not so many users have been using, but you feel that it is very important and that you wish that more users use it?
Yeah, definitely. So I think like, Base and Solana are invariably the two most popular chains on the network right now. Okay, so if you look at like Base and Solana, okay, a lot of the network activity is there. A lot of network activity, is driven by, the innovative dApps being built on it, as well as the liquidity available. Okay, so these are the ones that drive most of the action. But then we also see a lot of users, bridge their tokens. I think like bridging is one of the still major pain points out there. It's getting better. It's gotten better. Okay, but it's still somewhat of a nuisance. And don't take my word for it, but like try doing something on like say Bitcoin L2s. Okay, how do the bridges work? You have to like first convert, okay, your tokens. You have to bridge them to ETH. Okay, and then from ETH to like Bitcoin. Not to mention, connecting three or four different wallets. Okay, and then like w- bridging and like getting all of that done. So I think a lot of this can be like simply abstracted away. Bridges are also like prone to the highest number of hacks. Okay, I think a record number of like say more than like excuse me, more than 110 bridges have been hacked in some shape or form. Some have had like multiple hacks over time, etc. Just because people are using like a lot of tech and like it's forked, and a lot of it doesn't get updated that frequently, and so on. So for us, like I think bridging is a pain point for users that we want to solve. And then let's say if you add like say greater functionality, like say portfolio being rebalanced, okay, and everything else, like that can be like a huge advantage too.
Okay, but as of now, you're saying that most people are doing swaps and these are cross-chain swaps.
Yeah, they're using it for like cross-chain swaps. They're using it for like NFT discovery. Okay, they're using it for like say knowing a little bit more about tokens as well. We have some more like on-chain research agents that will soon go live. So you should be able to like query, say something like, okay, who are the top 20 vet traders for the month of like say March 2025. Okay, give me like an ascending order, okay, of that particular list. Okay, or like probably like a descending order, so you can see the most profitable traders on top. And then you would also be able to like copy trade some of their strategies as well. Now once you sort of like identify those wallets, you can then like take those wallets, okay, and research outside of Elsa. But what we want to sort of do is like make sure like everything on chain research oriented should be able to be done by some of the agents, okay, that are like already soon going to be available. So what would happen is that a user doesn't have to like toggle between 20 different apps, like go to like dbank, copy paste the wallet address, then go through the transaction history, etc. So then you can identify like the most profitable traders there. Let's say in case you want to find out like say wallets that are like tagged with the VC label, you should be also able to do that. That what VCs are like holding, like say Soul token. I think there are like a good number of institutional investors that are holding Solana because they're so bullish on it. So you should be able to see all of those lists as well. So we're using like a bunch of APIs, okay, to enable it, and see how we can actually get that through as well.
I see, I see. Also curious about other actions because Enso doesn't only provide swaps, we also provide actions like add liquidity, staking, depositing in lending markets. What is the community feedback on that? Are they using it?
Oh yeah, of course. So, like I think like yield optimization is very very much of a use case. Like let's compare it to like a traditional staking flow. Let's say if you're holding like say Solana tokens, okay, then there are like a bunch of options available. You can stake it on like say liquid staking platforms such as like Marinade, okay, or like you could like stake them to the validators as well. Okay, and everywhere it's sort of like you have to do like a bunch of like research oriented points that kind of gets like harder and harder for like users to sift through it. Also, if you stake through the wallets, then invariably a fee applies both on like staking and unstaking as well. Okay, so they sort of like gate it. Okay, it's almost like they're like paywalling it. Okay, by say, so you're essentially a user's losing yield. Also, dynamic adjustment is sort of missing. Okay, which is also something that users want to do. Now we're also exploring like a bunch of institutional use cases. One of the queries that we've received is that, let's say we have we're like a small liquid token fund. Okay, I have like 30,000 USDC. Okay, I probably need it by the end of the month. Okay, how can I earn yield on it? So what we intend to do with that particular request is to like find yield. Okay, stake it like say starting from today, it's 16th of April. Okay, until like say the end of the month. Okay, it should automatically unstake it, okay, for the highest possible yield. So in case someone wants to run a payroll or needs the money for like whatever reasons, okay, they should be having those funds available and get that done.
Okay, I think we're able to do that to pull out a list of all the API, all the APYs and the protocols, and then for the user to select which one that they want to put their money in. Maybe let's hop over to Nanette right now to show us exactly how this is done from the DevX point of view.
Sure. Let's take a look how this what's the how to this one. So let me just share my screen. Yeah, let's do this one. Okay, you should be able to see it. So this is I'm going to start with the UI actually. So this is the Enso's widget, and practically it lets you again get from one position to another. And here we want to go to Pendle's BTC to stake BTC curve gauge position. So we're starting with wrapped BTC, and you can see that like we can get a fairly complex route that starts from there and ends up in the right pool. And you can see that we have, for example, on this path, a couple of deposits happening. So that's what I meant. Just focus on what you want to achieve, and that's getting from here to there. And this is completely optimized and automatically created by the Enso's route API. And to make it even more tangible for devs, this is what the curl request looks like. So it's a simple curl going to shortcuts route, and all the data it needs actually is, well, the signing account, the chain, slippage, and these are the two tokens that should
Sorry,
be.
where's the curl? The curl is not showing.
Oh, sorry, just a second. I have to reshare, I guess. Um, just a moment. Yeah. Okay, coming back here. Here it is. Here's the code. So as I said, just a simple curl request, and yeah, going to the shortcuts route endpoint with authorization. And as I said, it requires like the basic information, who and which chain. And again, just specifying the input and output tokens, so the endpoints to the route with amount and slippage. And this thing pretty much gives you, let me run it so we can see it works. Yeah, it gives you this route, so these exact steps that were needed, that are needed to take to get from that one position to the other. Um, so this is what it looks like in code, and yeah, maybe we could also check out another example that we have in here. Um, yeah, this is again a bunch of deposits, and again, similar thing from die to pendulum. This one is slightly different because it includes a swap, and then a couple of deposits. So the route is pretty dynamic and adjusted to the current market conditions.
Excellent.
All
I,
right.
I think this is super cool. So as a developer, you wouldn't even need to know how many protocols to hop into, in and out of. You just put in the token in and token out, and it's like magic. Everything is done for you.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You don't even have to uh, know which exactly protocols are in there unless you specifically want to interact with certain protocols. So if you want that for whatever reasons, and there are good reasons for doing it, of course, there is, of course, APIs that give you lists of all the protocols. There's a way to get the tokens representing those protocols, and so on and so on. And the you can compose that route on your own instead of having Enso do it for you. So route is practically a convenience. Let us take care of the how, and with when you want to go explicit, you can use the bundle API, and stack those and chain those interactions, stitch them together essentially.
Yeah, that's quite a common question I get. So you know, as of now, it used to be a lot of Web3 people, but then now Web2 people are gradually entering
Mhm.
into Web3, and it is quite a common practice for fund managers in Web2 especially, that they are given mandates that they have to only interact with these few selected protocols. So for them, maybe route is not super optimal, in which you allow the algo to decide which protocols to hop in and out of. Because of their specific mandates, they have to use certain protocols that have been whitelisted according to the investment sheet. So then these are the people, when building their investment strategies, their automated strategies behind the investment vaults, that they would be constructing the bundles by themselves.
Yeah, that's true. But there's also, I would like to share my screen again because I like doing that.
Awesome. We'll
Uh,
get screen.
route is not completely out of the picture. So this is the docs, this is the API reference, and this is the shortcuts route that I demonstrated. So what you can do actually is, let me just find it, ignore standards and aggregators. So this actually allows you to have a filter of aggregators and standards um, for constructing the route. So exactly for the use case that you mentioned, if there's a limitation which standards to use, well, the API is flexible enough to just filter those out. So uh, that pretty much means yes, you can use route even in those types of situations, even though it looks very simple.
That is super cool. Okay, I guess that was a great demonstration. Maybe now I would also like to ask each of you to share. Since we have already seen what is available right now, I would like to know what is ahead, what's in the future. Maybe share something about your future roadmap, starting from Nanette, and then we move on to Dawal.
Well, a common phrase that we hear is cross chain, and you've seen the demonstration of the widget where you can send those build those DeFi workflows using Route. Well, we're working on having that for cross chain use case, so that's coming up in the following period from the Enso vision.
Yeah, and Dawal has also validated that primarily what you shared with us earlier, that a big headache is for bridging, right? But you have already solved that, and it's already available in Elsa. Enzo is coming in to add to your routing for Elsa for that. And then
Thank
what
you.
is next? What is next for Elsa?
So I think like like I think whatever, like as we are like leveraging Enso to the hilt. Okay, whatever Enso develops, also helps accelerate our mission. Okay, towards simplifying the onboarding for users, and we greatly appreciate everything that you're coming up with. Our roadmap includes, like, say, support for like the newer chains out there, that have like significantly higher throughput. We also want to sort of reduce the latency taken, to produce, like, say, to like dry run transactions for our users. Okay, so sometimes like there's like a little bit of lag. Okay, in case those are like hard to find tokens, then it's kind of like super. It does take like a little more than like 20 seconds. Okay, a lot of our users have complained about that we don't know if we have like pushed out that request, if Elsa is really going to produce the right results. And then there are also, like, say, challenges around signing transactions on, like, say, EOA wallets. A lot of them do get like timed out. Okay, so how to sort of like keep that active, because you're depending on like third party EOAs. Okay, so you sort of have to, it's quite an engineering challenge to sort of keep the transaction alive and not having a user to push that out like multiple times or like retry the transaction there as well. So a lot of them, so some of our, like, say, roadmap plans are, like, say, towards like simplifying the users experience even further. Okay, as well as, like, say, continue supporting newer chains. At the later part of this year, we also plan to like launch our token. So we also need to build like token utility natively within the platform. Okay, so that's again something, okay, that we're seeing, how we can potentially do that as well. Lastly, we need agents to like talk to one another. Okay, so right now we have a whole bunch of agents. Okay, somehow like getting them to fulfill the user intent and keeping that at the core of it, okay, is solved to some extent, but not to the level that we would like. So we want our agents to sort of like cross communicate and see how that can be done. A very simple example can be that, let's say, if you have a wallet that is successfully trading on AMMs. Okay, let's call it like XYZ dot sol that you want to copy. Okay, how can you potentially do that? Like, let's say in case they procure tokens, okay, how can you do that like within the next 30 to 60 seconds? Okay, also, how do you ensure, like, let's say, if a token was purchased at a certain price, our users are able to sort of secure the same at another price without getting MEV rugged. From an execution standpoint, this is easier said than done.
Understand. You mentioned smart wallets, right? And the challenge to work with EOAs. I believe we have support for smart wallets, right, Nanette? And also for 7702.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think definitely, like, say, like with smart wallets, okay, all of this can be abstracted away to a greater extent. A lot of the smart wallets as a service offerings allow you to program based on the application that you're building. Okay, so that's also advantageous in terms of, like, say, going ahead with it. But then ultimately you're still having another layer that communicates, okay, to the asset being held. Okay, so that does come, that does bring in like some more wallet latencies, as we call it.
Yeah, and you mentioned new chains. So that is a very common question I get during my BD calls. People always ask, what chains do you support? So there's actually a way to find it in our docs, and it lists out very nicely for you. Nana, do you think you could share screen and show us how to get the list of chains?
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
So
No,
uh
Nana from our Enso
oh
docs,
yeah,
how to
sorry.
list of chains.
Yeah, my camera is acting out, so let me know if it goes again. So I'll just jump straight to the docs, and
Yeah,
for that question, what chains are supported? This is the build section. This is like where you go to build stuff, and this gives you a
yeah.
list of.
Wait. We're not seeing your screen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it might be something with my connection. Hopefully, it's. I
Okay, just
restart. I
yeah,
restarted, so you should see it now.
yep, we're
Yeah.
seeing it.
So from the Enso docs, this is the build section. This is the list of the supported networks, and of course, you can just copy a little curl request, and this is pretty much it. I'll send it over, and there we go. We have a list of, well, I don't know by heart how many networks, but all the major chains are pretty much in
Yeah,
there.
just that is the best way to get it, because we see a few new chains up there. It's just some alpha that I wanted to share.
Yeah.
We haven't publicly announced it yet, but if you want some alpha, we do have quite a few new chains. If you go to that page, what is the link? Then once the link, share it with
Yeah,
them.
I'll actually share it. Let's just a moment. Pup, 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 pup. Yes, somebody from our team should put it in the chat. So
Yep, sure. We
no,
will
it's
leave
there.
it in the comments later. Okay, I think that's oh yeah. Dawal, do you want to share a screen of Hey Elsa front end as well so that the users can see?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Just give me 1 second while I set that up. So here, this is on a mobile interface. Okay, this is connected to like a smart wallet, and then also, yeah, let me just show this to you. How this is the voice feature that has now been enabled. Uh, so let's say user can essentially just like speak out their intent, and then Elsa would sort of translate that in convert the voice, okay, to text, okay, and get that done. Again, like using AI for this, like build a portfolio with half of my ETH on base. Elsa is contextually aware of like how much ETH you're holding. So let's say if you're holding zero point 0.1 ETH, okay, so you're building a portfolio with zero point 0.5, which is $82. It's quickly segregating to large, mid, and small caps, along with some reserves in like say stables as well. And then let's say if you just say that, let's proceed with these transactions, please set up the swaps for us. Elsa would then start to see how it can secure the tokens, okay, and all you have to do is like click on like build portfolio, okay. The moment you tap that, all of these transactions are pushed on chain, and they get executed. Under the hood, it's looking for the most optimal quotes for the user. Okay, we always try to ensure like this is done like in the most efficient way possible, so that users don't end up losing out, okay, just because of like increased swap rates or so. um, Now all of these 5 swaps are being pushed out. Okay, typically like these would get through in one single transaction, unless those transactions are say available on other chains as well. Okay, so let's say this failed due to some reason, we're just retrying.
There's quite a bunch of actions.
Yeah, so it's trying to like swap all of these together. Okay, and okay, we're just requesting for it to happen once again.
And is this connected to your MetaMask wallet?
No, so here on the top right, you can see that it's connected to a smart wallet. Okay, so that's basically Elsa's own wallet. Okay, that connects with like say multiple chains. Um, yeah, we just saw that the one transaction got through. Okay, the second one happened as well. Okay, so should the others as well. So it's quickly getting that through as well. Third one happened. Okay, the others should go through too. Fourth, and then probably the fifth one too. So we have like multiple solvers under the hood, okay, that we are dry running the transaction through. And then we also provide, like, let's say some of these solvers are building their agents. Okay, like all the swaps have been now completed. Okay, so now we can quickly try and see. We're pushing out like another, like say, voice command, okay, of like actually making this happen. say, show my portfolio, like just to make sure, like, all of these tokens are actually reflecting in your wallet. uh, we can just see your portfolio is now displayed. You can see all of those tokens as well. Okay, so we've managed to get ETH, we've managed to get some of the other ones that we were trying to get, like CBBTC. So you also have like Bitcoin exposure. Okay, it's again like a base derivative token. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, that's interesting. Now let's move over to audience question. We have one audience question. What is the most complicated shortcut Enzo has enabled, and how many steps? What would you be your guess? Nana, what is your guess? And Dawa, what's your guess? I have the
Well,
answer.
my lower guess would be more than 5 for sure. I would even dare to go as high as 10.
Okay, Dawa, what's your guess?
I would guess, like, say, like yield optimization, is a significant challenge, like especially if you have like cross-chain tokens. Okay, so I would probably like presume that, Enso enables you to find like optimal yield across, all the EVMs out there. So, it is not just the actual transaction itself, but to also find yield accordingly. Okay, so that may not count as a transaction, but that still adds to the complications.
Okay. I have the answer. Both of you are wrong. Are very very wrong. Let me share
Oh,
screen.
damn.
Do you see my screen? Are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
What do you see here?
We see this.
107-step transaction seamlessly across 40 trading venues using 25 assets. To the best of my knowledge, this is the one that has the most number of steps, and I hope this has replied our audience question adequately.
Absolutely.
Right. Any other questions?
Uh,
Okay, I will share the link, and we will probably put it in our comments, and our marketing people will post it out. If you want to inspect it further, there is a link to the Eigenfi page where you can see each individual steps. Okay, I think we have come to the end of our podcast. If there are any last questions that Nanat and Dawal want to share with the audience.
I think, like, I do have a question for Nenad, specifically around, like,
Mhm.
let's say, what are the most user requested, okay, features from Enso that you're currently, working hard to like implement over the next, like, say, course of 2025?
Mhm. Well, I'll list a few that come to mind. Linda, you can always add to that. Cross-chain was a big ask and still is on various fronts, and this is what team is really dedicated to delivering. When it comes to usage, there's lots of questions about looping and zapping. Looping is quite a popular search term these days. So those two, and yeah, Lindy, would you add
Yeah,
something
yeah,
to this list?
looping for sure. Looping for
Yeah.
sure. Because it's not only AI that has been getting popular, but strategies, vote strategies, automated vote strategies, in which includes a lot of looping. And another reason why looping is getting popular these days is because there's many new stable coins, and stable coins want high TVL, so they want to loop in order to mint more and more. And also because blockchains also want TVL, and looping is a fast way to get TVL for every
Yeah.
protocol. So I would say yes, looping, automated strategies, liquidation bots, because all this looping happens on lending markets, and which needs liquidation bots, and their revenue is from liquidation. So that is something that people request as well.
Nice. Yeah, so for us, like, say, particularly like because we evaluate like every single prompt pushed onto Elsa, okay, it has been like, say, how do we find a way to like quantify users' risk appetite? Because, say for someone that wants to, like add liquidity for like, say, meme coins, and some people have made a fortune around it. And, we generally don't recommend, I personally don't trade any meme coins at all. okay, has been like, let's say if a user says that, I want to go ahead with a low risk approach, how do you sort of understand, what is low risk to that particular user? Uh, and then what do you recommend accordingly? So a lot of it has been like trial and error, like trying to, like produce like a list of suggestions and then waiting for the user feedback to sort of come through. So for us, it's been more around like, engaging and understanding the user sentiment. And a lot of it has been helping us like fine tune our model to produce the right output for our user base.
Right, right. Okay, thank you very much, both of you, for your time, Leonard and Dawal. We've come to the end of our podcast. So let me just emphasize again for users who are using HeyElsa, please go to their website to check out the UI. And for builders who are experimenting, you're building your own project or you already have your project and you want to add some features, come look at our Enso docs and drop it into our public Telegram. You can ask any question and we'll be happy to assist you from there. Nenad is always there 24/7. Even if he's not there, he'll reply the next day. Don't worry about it. Also, be sure to follow our socials, Enso and Hey Elsa AI. Follow us on all channels. Come join in our Discord as well. And yeah, we have one final question. What is this audience question, Nicole?
So, the question is that, love the portfolio builder. What would be the next version of it? So I think like we are like, creating like token sets. Okay. So let's say, if users had that, prompt request that, get me like say, five RWA tokens that are between, 50 to 100 mil market cap. Okay, Elsa should be able to like execute that specifically. Okay, or it could be centered around like say specific asset classes, like say DeFAI, Deepin, okay, meme coins, or DeFi tokens as well. So users should be able to build those token sets like specifically around those as well. And then even like, build like comparison metrics. Okay, saying that, let's say, I want to not only get like tokens between certain FDV, but also qualify them by the number of token holders. Okay, they should have at least 20,000 token holders with minimum balances of 5,000 each. So Elsa would then, search on chain and search off chain, okay, with like say specific tokens and produce output accordingly. So Nico, that's something that, we're building under the hood as well.
I hope that answers the audience question as well. Okay, so thank you very much for your time, everybody, and also thank you, Nico and Leonie, for handling everything back end. Again, please follow our socials and stay tuned to our next episode of the podcast. That'll be 2 weeks from now. We have it every 2 weeks, and it showcases different projects that build using Enso. So thank you very much for your time. Have a nice day, everybody, and enjoy your Easter weekend.
All right. Thanks very much. Bye, folks. Thanks,
Thanks
Lindy
a
and
lot.
Leonard and Nico, for having me. Bye. Take care.
Thanks a lot. Bye bye.